All right, I got so much stuff to talk about. I had incredible guests that have come on, but now it's time to go crazy with these crazy leftist demonic policies that I'm reading about. And reparations is one of the most evil things that I've ever heard in the way in which it's presented. Now, should black people have gotten reparations a long time ago? I say yes, they probably should have. But at this point, it's too late. If you hadn't given it to us now, it ain't no reason to give it to us. If you haven't gotten it to us by this point, there's no reason to do it now. And the reason that I say that is because at what point do we use common sense when it comes to reparations? Who's going to pay reparations? Last time I checked, black people have been paying taxes for I don't know how long. So the government is going to come up with money that black people has already given them in order to produce money back to them as reparations. It's the stupidest thing on planet Earth. Let me add to this about reparations as well. What do you do about biracial couples? If there's somehow a reparation, my wife is white. Is she supposed to pay me reparations? And then if you look at it, our children are biracial. So how does reparations work for biracial children? Therefore, you defeat the purpose, because all I'm going to do when you give me a $1.2 million of reparations, I'm going to give it to my wife who's white. All right, so I think that if we use logic and understanding, reparations isn't conducive for the growth and productivity of black people in general. We've already seen when somebody wins the lottery, they normally blow all their money. If you are not going to couple finances with financial literacy, you are hurting people. And I'll tell you this, and I think that, and it's sad that a lot of black people that push this, either they're being evil, ignorant, or they're race hustling, one of the three, maybe all three at the same time. But you should understand and acknowledge that reparations of $1.2 million given to somebody is literally passing on wealth to rich people. Because I guarantee you that when somebody get $1.2 million in a bank account, they're going to go buy something from somebody. They're going to go buy something and make people richer. Why do you say that, Mr. Tatum? Remember during COVID? Remember them PPP loans and all the stuff that they were giving out to the public? The man who became the richest man in the world is the one that have the conglomerate company that own Louis Vuitton and all this high-end fashion. So people were going out and buying high-end fashion with their STEMI checks. And somehow we believe that giving reparations to black people is going to be a solution to the ill will and the ill deeds of things that have happened in the past in our country. I would argue this point as well. I think that the country has already done enough. You talk about affirmative action. You talk about all the things that the country have done to try to right the wrongs. And at some point, you have to take up your own mantle and you have to take accountability for your actions. I don't understand how in America we are still crying about slavery. I do not understand. There's an historical context that we should never forget. But at this point, how is a person being a slave that you don't even know, you never met, may not even be associated with your family, somehow stopping you from getting off your couch and getting a job? None of those things make any sense to me. If you ask me, if you still want to push reparations, there's two ways that I think that African Americans should get reparations in America, and that's one from the Democrat Party or two from other black people. Oh, y'all don't want to hear that. Other black people should really be paying black people reparations. If you look at the murder and the damage done in these inner city communities, these thugs that went to prison for murdering people and terrorizing the community owe their own community reparations. And then the politicians that are pushing poor policies that lead to residual debt, residual lack of wealth and growth, they owe reparations to their own community. And look at the black leaders like Al Sharptongue and all the rest of them. They are damaging and pimping out the community in order to become wealthy. You know, they tell you that you're not supposed to trust the white man and you got to do all this, and they running it up. Their financial status is way up here. Schools are our kids aren't getting educated. Their kids go to private school. How come the white man jumped over them? Racism and prejudice in America is somehow pervasive, but it jumped over Al Sharpton. And that fool is pimping y'all so hard that he owed millions of dollars in taxes that he haven't paid. And I often wonder, at what point are we going to be wise, and at what point are we going to remember that we are in this together as a country? It boggles my mind. Do you pay reparations to the men who sacrificed their lives in the Civil War? Because I think you should. If it wasn't for them sacrificing it all, dying, the hundreds of thousands of people who died in the Civil War, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have today. Slaves would probably not be free. I would say probably not. Obviously, the Union won, not the Confederacy. Then do you give them reparations? What about the people that helped Harriet Tubman free the slaves to the North? It wasn't. She didn't go on Aladdin didn't come pick her up on a carpet, and she was transporting black people to Never Never Land. She was taking black people, and there was good white people who were Christians, who were helping her, hiding people in their houses, risking their lives to help end slavery and rescue people who were in bondage. Do you give them reparations? Larry Elder gave a statistic of 60% of white people who are here today migrated here after slavery. So at what point are they responsible for things that they had no involvement in? I think this is just what we call a money grab. It's funny that billions of dollars were given to Black Lives Matter and affiliate organizations, and how much money did they give to black people? Zero. How much effect did they have in the black community? Zero. All they did was pimp you out and buy mansions. Let's continue this conversation. I think that anybody that's pushing reparations is disingenuous at best, and those people do not love you. They do not care about you. They just want to get money out of the government pocket to put in the pockets of people who are incredibly wealthy. All you had to do is look at what Black Lives Matter has done over the inception and all the way to the conclusion of Black Lives Matter. They have done absolutely nothing for black people. I don't even know why they would call them Black Lives Matter. It should be Black Lives Matter, because all they do is push lies. It should be Black Mansions Matter, because Patrice Cullors then ran it up with all them mansions in all white neighborhoods. Now, I understand the grift. Black Lives Matter, they're running it up. They're making all this money. They're doing all this thuggery, in my personal opinion. However, can you at least buy a house in a black neighborhood? Can you at least go to Atlanta somewhere and get you a house? You got to go to California and Calabasas or somewhere. Ain't a black person in 2 miles. A 2-mile radius, you would never see a black person out in those areas where Patrice Cullors are buying houses. These people are fraudulent. And so why would you believe anything that they say, acting as if they are advocating for black people? If they were advocating for black people, they would not be lying to you about this hope and a prayer of reparations you ain't never going to get. I find it very interesting that when Barack Obama was the president, where was the reparations then? Because they ain't never going to give you no reparations. All they doing is tricking you into voting for them in the next election. What they should be saying is empowering you. They should be eliminating CRT and all this other bull crap from your schools and empowering you and telling you you can make it and telling you the success measures that you can put in place that can cause you to be great in America. They should be telling you that the American dream is for you just like anybody else. But instead, they hoodwinking you and telling you that this country does not belong to you, telling you that waking up early is white supremacy, to being smart and intelligent is you trying to be white. All of these things, in my personal opinion, are tricks of the enemy. That's why you cannot believe these people, because they do not love you. They love the devil.